Garden City house covered in graffiti looks like any other vandalized property, but it's not the work of a criminal.
This house was actually tagged by the homeowner herself, and police say there's nothing they can do about it. Fox 2's Taryn Asher with the story.
Happy summer sounds coming from this Garden City neighborhood until residents woke up Tuesday to find these offensive words spray painted on their neighbor's home, only to find out it was the homeowner herself who was to blame.
Come on, Gary. I can't wait till you're gone. Sorry. Right there.
Tempers are certainly flaring after this woman used her home as a canvas to place blame for her plight and plead for help.
I'm a college English teacher. I'm a published author. I am using metaphor.
But desperate neighbors who've lived on Deering Street for most of their lives and called Fox 2 for help feel there must be a better way.
Jesus raped me? Come on. That's horrible. There's children.
She's not wanted in this neighborhood. Look at her house. Would you want to live next to her?
It's flat out wrong. Not only, it brings the neighborhood down, but it's not good for the kids to drive by and see it.
I was scared. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why do my children have to be witness to this? Why do I have to explain to them what this is?
The first thing Danielle Campbell did was call police, who we're told are very familiar with this woman and have dealt with her mental issues in the past. They even showed up when we were there, but the homeowner would not allow officers inside, and there was nothing they could do to intervene. I spoke to Garden City police, who say basically their hands are tied. It's not a crime for the homeowner to vandalize her own property, and she is protected by her First Amendment rights. So right now, police are working with agencies to get her the help she needs, but in the meantime, unfortunately, neighbors are going to have to deal with it.
We're just looking to move. And we're looking to find somewhere that's safer for my children. I love my neighbors, but I can't have them across from this.
Their only hope right now is getting the building department involved. It will determine if the graffiti violated any ordinances, and the city may be able to get her to cover up her work and eventually restore peace in this once quiet little neighborhood. In Garden City, Taryn Asher, Fox 2 News.
Mental health's a very important thing to take care of and to look after, and I want to take the time right now to warn you that there's some very sensitive subjects and topics that I'm going to have to talk about, some allegations and just overall insanity. So please, your mental health's not near as important as the watch time on this video, so maybe hit subscribe, the like button, go watch a documentary that I made that isn't as sensitive in nature. Now, with all that being said, let's talk about Gina. This is Gina Marie Fournier, born on August 20th, 1963, in Detroit, Michigan, at a particular hospital that a one White Bowser actually resided at one point. Yeah, she was born at Henry Ford's. I heard they had some good chicken. And she was also raised by her Catholic mother, Eugenia. In childhood, Gina was actually a pretty outgoing kid. In her own words, she actually says that she was the big mouth to come up with the phrase, check it out. And she attended St. Mike's Catholic School. She had a pretty normal childhood, even though her dad was pretty much in and out of her life. And even up to the point to where she was 12 years old, he was finally just gone. So she was pretty much just raised by her extremely Catholic mother. Gina's small autobiography called The Child Witch actually describes a little bit of her childhood. Stating that she would hang out with friends, ride bikes, and even claim to have been of favoritism and reliability. Gina and her close friends would land roles in an all-city Parks and Rec play called, I think it was called Who Stole the King's Cream Puffs, pretty much insinuating that Gina and her friends were somewhat popular. Apparently the communication was pretty bad in her home life, as Gina was actually asked if she was Hawaiian due to having jet black hair, and even questioned herself on the matter, so I would assume that her and her mom didn't have a really good talking relationship. And due to her having black hair, Gina was actually cast as the bad witch, and it was kind of foreshadowing what would happen in her later life, so... As explained by Gina, Eugenia, wow, her mother was a home economics teacher. She taught at the Detroit Day School for the Deaf. And in Gina's own words, to earn her pay and feed me, my mom faked knowing sign language, I think. She yelled a lot at home and at work. And on top of all that, she also made a small income by knitting, apparently using a large stitch, which if you didn't know anything about that, using large stitches, it makes it kind of uncomfortable to wear any kind of knitted clothing. And from what I could glean from her biography is that she had a pretty normal social life, but when it came to her home life, it seemed to be pretty difficult, especially financially. But despite that, they would still get together at night, eat dinner, and just you'd be a family, And during her final years of school, Gina would deliver a newspaper, the Detroit Free Press, so she could pay for her after-school ballet classes, and seemingly started to hate the school's education system, calling it lousy qualification of education due to her taking a test from a book that they weren't even studying from, and the teacher seemingly handing out random grades. Now, this would actually send her into a rage because apparently the teacher had been avoiding speaking French or some shit. All of this could be backed up in her biography, by the way. I don't know why this was a hot topic for her, but she was starting to see through the cracks of the education system, and even I can say, like, American education system's kind of shit. Now, since he would apparently send out these random grades, it would send her into a rage. Random grades send her into a rage, right? And this, among a few other events, would actually shift her mindset and start a war within her. And this war, buddy boy, she was not gonna fucking lose it. I know, guy, get to the funny stuff. This is boring as hell. But I assure you, this is all pertinent information. You have to figure out, like, where exactly things went wrong. And like I said, her childhood was pretty normal, but it was up until the point where she started seeing the cracks in the education system, and I think there was some mental health problems, so let's continue. To Gina, Catholicism as a whole was just a threat to her, and she wants absolutely nothing to do with it. As we keep up with the timeline, she seemed to graduate, and sometime in the early 2000s ended up becoming an English professor. Even though the timeline is just a little bit fuzzy, she started working at Oakland Community College and Delta College. And she actually has a few Rate My Professor pages dating from 2012 to 2013 from Oakland Community College, and I'm pretty sure that she was working there at the time, though it isn't really confirmed. Most of the ratings on the page are pretty negative, so let's read a few of them. Textbook? Yeah. She was a great teacher, but left the last 3 weeks of class, but she was helpful, and if you read a syllabus and followed through with it in your work and got a good grade. Textbook? Yeah. I don't know how well this teacher is inside the classroom, but she is awful online. Her class has absolutely no structure at all, and if you ask her a question, she'll direct you to her 10-plus page syllabus, where you search to find answers that are never clear. I love to read. I hate this class. Textbook? Yeah. She was very unclear about the instructions for the online class and was very impatient with the students when asking her questions. Would never recommend her to anyone. Textbook? Yeah. I'm currently in one of her classes. I would not recommend her to anyone. She has impossible expectations for her students, that they reread pages of her illogical materials, but she doesn't even take the time to thoroughly read your homework. She asked me many questions that were definitely answered if she would have read all of my paperwork. And due to all of those poor ratings, this was Gina's response. Students, this is Gina Fournier. Please check out the NATOL discussion on education reform and current standards that are too low. If you are serious and willing to work hard, please check out my school website. If you are not serious, immature, and unwilling to read, please do everyone a favor and do not take my course. Thank you, GMF. So there was a big old conspiracy, and I think we need to talk about it. While all these things were happening, Gina was starting to have her own presence outside of work, building a reputation as a nuisance to police officers, and though we don't know exactly what went down, we do have an excerpt from Gina that claims that Motown Community College swatted her by making false police reports due to her failing mental health. The way Gina describes it in a very, very long Facebook post, she was a tenure at Oakland Community College. And in 2012, a retired career labor attorney, William McQueen, he apparently came out of retirement for some reason and started working at Macomb Community College. I know, I get it, this is still extremely boring, guy. Get to the funny stuff, get to the weird shit. We're getting there. This is all pertinent. Just bear with me, please. I know this is just some random guy that I haven't even mentioned just yet, and I know this is all very, very boring, but this dude coming out of retirement, this actually caused like a big squander on her end, and he ended up just becoming the bane of her existence. So he is extremely important, at least at this point in the story. Anyways, after starting work at Macomb College, he apparently tried to silence her by creating a bogus paper trail. Now, her reasoning for this attack from William William was because Gina was an extreme critic of the entire Catholic education system, and that actually checks out to an extreme level. And more than likely, because of her failing mental health, took this all as some kind of conspiracy against her. And to speak of the paper trail, I wouldn't really know what the fuck that even is. Possibly a bunch of pink slips for bad behavior or outbursts, which would fit Gina's profile pretty well, but I couldn't find any info on what exactly the paper trail was. Anyways, apparently Williams set up a paper trail in April of 2012, and of March of 2013, it was about the time, in her own words, that she was forced to quit, and even claimed that after 7 years of service without incident, that I had become suddenly dangerous based on absolutely no evidence and no incident. I personally don't think that someone would have terminated her without any kind of incident or evidence of an incident, but that's just my thought process behind it. Gina claims to have been tortured mentally by the college, being subject to, oh my god, man, not one, but 2 mercenary hack shrinks. She was removed from the classroom at some point on some kind of academic charges, and they stopped paying her. Afterwards, William would call the police on Gina, claiming that she was trying to end her own life and was dangerous to others. The cops ended up knocking on her door, where she was cuffed and taken to St. Mary's Psychiatric Hospital. And I can only imagine just how raged out and insane she was being just to be able to get cuffed and immediately sent to a psych ward. Here's a question: how do you think that her stay at the psych ward actually went? Well, as it would mold her way of thinking from now on, just completely make her an insane loon, make her think that, you know, the community colleges and the police force are all conspiring against her and only her. I'd have to say that her stay at the mental facility just didn't go very well. But I guess that's something that we have to talk about. So let's talk about her stay at the mental hospital.
Is moving without me. My keyboard is moving. I am not typing.
Apparently her stay at St. Mary's was not a pleasant one, especially for someone as crazy as Gina, as she was put into a windowless room and they undressed her. This is where her famous quote of "I was by Jesus" comes from. Her humanity was and of course it was in a Catholic facility. She claims that the hospital area was dark and understaffed and compares it to Siberia, separate from everything. Apparently she was jumped by 2 groups of people there, the Livonia police and St. Mary's hospital staff, and wasn't allowed to contact a lawyer, a doctor, or any kind of family. She was never evaluated, even though this is one of the main reasons for her being there. That's what she claimed. I actually have a page from her psych eval that we will read up on, don't you worry, but she claims that she was never evaluated, but I have got my hands on the psych eval. Now, there isn't too much else to talk about the mental hospital stay, but I can assure you that this is the exact definition of crazy lady, and I would take everything that she says with not even a grain of salt, half of a grain of salt. I know that mental facilities sometimes don't have the best care. Hell, even some hospitals don't care about its patients, but I like to think that at the very least, it being a Catholic hospital, that, you know, she'd get the care that she needed. But I also looked at the Yelp reviews of the hospital, and to my surprise, wouldn't you have it, it has a 2-star rating. Though every other hospital in the area has 3-star ratings. It is Detroit, so. But her stay ended up causing her a lot of mental stress, ended up messing her up much more than what she already was, and I guess at this point we got to read the psych eval, so let's read that psych eval off.
Yeah, the windows have alternated.
Right up here it says suicidal ideation, so that's the reason that she was there. It was signed by 2 different physicians, and patient Fournier Gina. Fournier Gina. I have such a hard time dealing with her name. She was 49 years old, her sex is female, date of birth 8/30/1963. She doesn't have any associated diagnoses at the time. Apparently, in her own writing here, it says was not an actual doctor, whatever. She was seen by these 2 doctors immediately upon arrival. Her history source was the patient and police. Arrival mode, police. Why is it so small there? What the fuck? For some reason, that it just shouldn't be there. Additional information, chief complaint from nursing triage note. Chief complaint triage. I don't know what that means, whatever. The patient present with PT is 49-year-old female with history of asthma, is brought in by police for suicidal ideation, extreme agitation, was speaking loudly with tangential speech. Patient stated that OCC and William McQueen was trying to drive her insane and wanted to ruin her life. Patient stated that the pressure from the emotional pain led to her husband's death in December. The patient also stated that the police are making up stories about her and that she needs to go home and take her elderly dog off to bed before he breaks his legs. The patient is agitated and delusional. The patient denies suicidal ideation but admits to asking people to come and take her out of her misery and kill me on Facebook postings. According to police, friends of the patient became concerned and called them. Patient denies taking any substance or pills. The onset was 1 hour ago. The course duration of symptoms is constant. Character of symptoms: angry, anxious, paranoid, agitated, suicidal thoughts. The degree of symptoms is severe. Self-injury, not ingestion, and not incised risk. Exacerbating factors consist of family problems, job. The relieving factors is none. Risk factors consist of suicidal risk and recent death in the family. And of course, you know, motherfuckers, that written down here says lies. It's circled, just scream no. Not a quote, motherfucker, motherfucking idiot. The patient is a widow. She was separated 2 or 3 months prior to her husband's death. They both have had several marital problems. The patient admitted alcohol use regularly. 5 servings of alcohol weekly basis. She abuses marijuana. She is an English teacher at OCC and reports that she was working to find out the root of the illegal activities at OCC, and the people were trying to give her more problems. Laboratory data and diagnostic studies. General chemistry had some abnormal findings for chloride, sugar, calcium, etc. UDS positive for marijuana. Alcohol level less than 3. CBC with differential essentially with normal findings. Pregnancy test is negative. Urinalysis normal. Mental status examination. The patient is about 5 feet 7 inches tall. 49-year-old widow. She weighs about 180 pounds. She is in a hospital gown at the present. She was on a 4-point restraints when she was brought to the mental health from EC. She was on 4-point restraints when she was brought to mental health from EC because of her severe agitation, aggressive behavior, and unpredictability of the violent behavior. The patient at this time is not a reliable state to give proper psychiatric history because of her manic symptoms. However, she did say that she has never been hospitalized in a mental health unit, but she does see some doctor. Dr. John, who possibly might be a psychologist. The patient denied being on psychotropic medication. The patient is highly paranoid and delusional at this time. She was pounding on the desk. She wanted this writer to contact her outside psychologist. However, it was impossible as she did not have any phone number, and also the possibility the office might be closed at this time. Judgment is poor, lack of insight, coping poorly. She's highly unpredictable for self-harm or harmful behavior to others. Impression, acute relapse of bipolar disorder, manic type, alcohol, marijuana dependency, asthma, moderate to severe psychosocial stressors. I don't know what GAF-20 is. Recommendations, H&F by the internet. I don't know what that means either. By the internist? I don't know. When the patient is in a clear state, chemical dependency consultation, evaluation, treatment, individual support therapy, medication management, and control of manic symptoms, and stabilize our mood. Current medication includes, and I'm not gonna put the rest of that in there just because it's psychotropic drugs. But there's that. And with that craziness out of the way, I guess we get into the meat of the matter, the Jesus me incident.
And St. Mary Mercy Catholic Looneyman, I was locked up without evaluation. Are you gentlemen refusing to take my crime report?
So around 2015, 2 years after the mental facility, she was covered by Detroit Free Press and Fox 2 and Detroit New for attempting to prove to everyone that she was in fact extremely sane and right of mind by spray painting a lot of bullshit onto her house. She graffitied her own fucking house, and what did she tag on there? The loon decided to spray in big words, Jesus me, end OCC witch hunt, please help, St. Mary Livonia, and the date that she was admitted into the facility. And on top of that, she posted her own Facebook. Extremely unhinged, yet very effective, because 2 news outlets covered her. Yeah, maybe the response wasn't the positive one that she was searching for. Instead, it brought all of her neighbors together to talk about how much they fucking hated her. She was a blight on the neighborhood and constantly called the police just to fight with them, and would even go so far as to argue and fight with the neighbors if they were just walking by. And I absolutely love the one guy's reaction where he's just like, I can't wait until you fucking leave, and then just gives her the middle finger. Very based, I'll have to say. It's actually absolutely golden. Now, his claims of waiting until she was gone ended up being a pretty on-point prediction, as she was actually nearing homelessness due to her house being foreclosed on. It seems that due to her losing her job and not even having a husband anymore, which I haven't actually gotten into just yet, but we'll get there, it seems that around August 11th of 2015, she would owe just under $75,000 and, lost her and her husband's lake house and that house. And because of all this, she fled Garden City, moving up to Midwest Michigan. I should put a note here that one of the police officers that dealt with Gina the most actually had a PPO, or a personal protection order, placed on them and their wife, because Gina was just that unhinged. Anyway, let's talk about her husband a little bit.
Quiet boy. Jesus.
Now, in any instance that you can actually find Gina talking about her husband, you would think that she absolutely loved the man, but it couldn't be any further from the truth. There was a lot of discourse in that relationship. Because I say this because before he died in 2012, she filed a police report against him for, of fucking course, man, emotional and psychological abuse. You can even see that right here. She even claimed that that he filed a retaliatory PPO against her because the OCC told him to. I don't really know if I should put this in here, but here's the PPO filed against her now dead husband. It reads, "My husband is abusive. We have lived together for 10 years. 3 times in 10 years, he has abused me physically. Mostly he abuses me emotionally and psychologically. In the last 3 weeks, I'm sorry, this is really hard to read. In the last 3 weeks, his behavior has been erratic and scary. He is trying to kick me out of the house." I know I sound so autistic trying to read this. This is just her handwriting is just so bad. "Trying to kick me out of the house all of a sudden after 10 years. He thinks I should leave my dog and go on, be put in an insane asylum, and I see a therapist to help me cope. Recently, I something to my therapist. The abuse my husband has been giving me. Also, for the first time, I have shared the story that my husband was sexually abusive, and that's with something. He abuses me." You get the point. I need to move out of the house and get a divorce immediately as of whatever. There's that. Chris was an ill man, having to have his kidney removed in 2010 and seemingly got better, though in 2012 he would get sick yet again and ultimately not survive it. Rest and rip, Chris. I'm sorry that your wife is a complete lunatic and an absolute bitch, and I'm sure that you will be missed. Now, if you want to know more about Chris, you can read his obituary. I'll put it up here. You can just pause the video at some point. Editor, why don't you do that? And with that, there's really not much else to talk about. He died because of a kidney failure in 2012, and she filed several police reports on him, and apparently he did the same. She claimed that, of course, the Oakland Community College told him to do it, and it wasn't the case. And with that, there wasn't much else to talk about Chris, but I guess we need to get into the actual juicy stuff. Probably the reason that you even clicked on this entire video, Gina's internet ban. Let's talk about that. 2018 was a pretty eventful one for Gina. Apparently Michigan, they just had more of their fill of Gina's bullshit. You remember that one officer that filed the PPO against her? Well, I left just a tiny bit of information out just for this one particular part. That officer actually filed the PPO on her because she was stalking him and his wife. So here's a transcript from the officer that was filing the PPO. "Barely walked down the hill, I think now too, with her leaving her dog off leash. I think she wants that altercation. I think she wants that grounds to say, here he is again, here he's doing this. I'm in fear that all this anger that you haven't allowed me to admit all the OCC stuff, but to me, in my mind, it's quite violent, and I'm afraid it's directed at me now. Due to her standing in front of my house for hours, not hours, I apologize, for half hour at a time in the pouring rain, staring at my house. For sitting there and setting up signs in front of my house. For screaming at us and making repeated trips around this little island that I own of property. There's no reason to go there except to harass me. It's not like she's going from point A to point B, going around there is just so she has access to yell and scream at me. I'm afraid of, as I should say, and I didn't want to bring it up in front of her to give her any idea, but I am afraid that she may commit suicide by cop. She's talked of suicide in the past. She's talked of hurting other people. I'm afraid because they are OCC employees, and I am an OCC employee. This is on my mind, whether it's admitted in court or not. She has, the yelling and screaming makes it to the point where you flinch just going out of your house wondering when it's going to happen. When I have guests, I have to explain to them why I'm being screamed at, why I'm being yelled at. If I chose to go to another job after this, then I have to explain why on Facebook it's posted crooked cop. I have too many toys. I have the house that I paid $80,000. $80,000 for is way too expensive for a school bus driver who works 3 jobs and a police officer who has worked several jobs through the years. It hurts my future also by what she's doing. So it has made me unable to go about my daily life up there as I normally would. I am in fear, and I feel I am being harassed, not just by her standing out and doing these things, but by her using social media, which she is very adept at, and I'm not. And I'm not going to get into it with her on social media. I have not engaged her, but to not engage her, I have to say in my home. I cannot go freely about my daily business, and in my request to the court, I am asking her just to stay away from the front of my home in the north side of which property I own, so that she doesn't have access to directly yell, scream, and yell at me. She would have to do it from her property or somewhere outside of Lake, I can't read that, Miramichi, Lake Miramichi. I will grant you if I'm out in town, you don't have to give me the PPO concerning that I would. And of course, here's the transcript of them in court. Petitioner, we have 3 police jurisdictions that respond. My home is in Ocilla, part of my property, and her home is in Mecosta, and we have also had troopers out. The court says, all right, respondent, have you ever discussed me with Oakland Community College cop Terry McCauley? I have not discussed it with him personally. I've written letters stating that I have been harassed by you up here, but I have never sat down with Terry McCauley discussing you or your case. But you have written him letters. I wrote a letter to, I believe it was Human Resources, and I think he was CO'd on that. So you have the communication with Human Resource Director William McQueen about me? Yes, when I FOIA'd, that was the first time I met William McQueen. Where were you when you read my Facebook page? That was actually given to me by someone. How did you access my page? After the arrest, the state of Michigan actually used that stalking charge to finally just say, all right, it's time to do something about this 43, and it tried to end her online career. But of course, old Gina, she wouldn't go down without a fight and decided to go to Twitter. X. I'm sorry about that. And went on a tweeting rampage as seen from these screen caps. And on top of that, she even tried to get a hold of the local judge that was placing this internet ban on her and tried to get it lifted. I mean, you know that you're just absolutely desperate when you're starting to send unhinged letters to your local judge. But my main question to ask here is this. Did this no internet order keep Gina from being, well, Gina? Absolutely not, because around this time she was starting yet another war with a college that I mentioned a little bit earlier in this video, Delta College, where unlike Oakland, they actually grant bachelor degrees, and apparently Gina had obtained one. How exactly she did this with the amount of bullshit she has behind her and her digital footprint is long beyond me, and I will never understand that. Maybe they don't do background checks? I don't know, but there's a screen cap of her badge from where she started working at Delta, and at the time she was also visited by her probation officer and apparently was caught with weed, which isn't something that you want to do, is having a controlled substance while on probation, and she was seemingly arrested for it. After the arrest, she actually had the balls to request that she have access to the internet to gather curriculum for her college courses, and what do you know? The court actually allowed it, and even allowed her to use social media. But this is Gina we're talking about, and of course she went back to schizo posting about how much she just absolutely hated probation, among a slew of other things, and guess what? It reads like this. The plea agreement in this case is the defendant will plead no contest to count 2 attempted aggravated stalking. In return for this, the prosecutor's office has agreed to dismiss count 1 aggravated stalking and the misdemeanor charge of possession of marijuana. There is a sentence agreement of an open-ended delay of sentence. And then the next one here says, it is respectfully recommended that the defendant be sentenced to delayed sentence probation for a term of 1 year subject to the following special condition. You must not own, possess, or use any computer or any device capable of connecting to the internet, either directly or indirectly through a third-party provider, or reside in any residence in which these are present unless you first obtain written permission from the field agent. 2, you must not use or possess alcoholic beverages or other intoxicants. You must not enter bars or other places where the primary purpose is to serve alcoholic beverages for drinking on site, unless unless the field agent has first given you written permission for your employment at a specific location. You must comply to the requirements of alcoholic testing directed by the field agent, and you must not attempt to submit any fraudulent, unadulterated samples for testing. You must not hinder, obstruct, tamper, or otherwise interfere with the testing procedures, and you must present proper identification at the time of testing. You must comply with the requirements of drug testing directed by your field agent. You must not attempt to submit any fraudulent and unadulterated samples for testing. You must not hinder, obstruct, blah, blah, blah. You must not use, possess any controlled substance or drug paraphernalia unless prescribed for you by a licensed physician to be with anyone you know to possess these items. You must use prescription drugs only as prescribed for you by your licensed physician. You must take medication as prescribed by a licensed physician. You must complete a psych eval when you are referred by the field agent. And while all of this was happening, her job with Delta was on the line, and she was finally discharged in November. But of course, this didn't end with good feelings. You know, it's Gina. Gina pulled a Gina and did what Gina did best. Alright, you're gonna have to bear with me, this is a long one. Dear students, I have been living a double life, but you smart people saw through any smiles to my gray, frazzled soul. Paul Simon, the great American song lyricist, on his Graceland album, in the title song, it sings, and she said, losing love is like a window in your heart. Everybody sees you've blown apart. Everybody sees the wind blow. If you're reading this letter, your teacher is in jail or worse, prison, or maybe dead, ideally by natural causes. As I write this letter, I feel nauseous and slightly lightheaded. I'm so tired of finding new ways of telling my story, which I've done since day one consistently. My Mitten State nightmare, the devil bowls with a snowball, illegal loony bin lock of a female community college English teacher coloring with the Catholics, Jesus raped me, act, peace, Oakland Community College, sexist, bogus, mental health care, witch hunt, something wicked this way came. My life in the last 6 years adds up to 3 Lifetime movies, and it's the worst movie I've ever seen, and I wouldn't necessarily believe me either. Believe me, I was gaslit. See 1944 movie with Ingrid Bergman, Charles Boyer, and Joseph Cotton, and suicide swatted by my former employer, which caused police abduction and legal loony bin lockup. And that was years ago. In 2013, I've endured so much toil, told my story over and over in all the right ways and in frustration, and now I'm so tired physically and mentally. No one wants to hear the story I must tell. This is it. This is the story, as crappy as it sounds. I was accused of being possible classroom shooter because of a human resources labor attorney brought out of retirement wanted to prove he could silence the Michigan Education Association and union teachers. I can support this claim with boxes of documentation, and was told to my face the first time I met William McQueen in the district offices of Oakland Community College in Birmingham and Bloomfield Hills. Ooh, this is a lot. That because of one female academic down south in Alabama killed her co-workers, I too alone among OCC staff needed my head examined. It was May 2012. What's happened since then includes a lot of actual school, church, work, and public space shootings, and I haven't hurt anyone just like prior to the onset of William McQueen. Feminist returns to Mitten State. First wave trying to put students first in an old school union shop in the state's richest county. Second wave carrying water and chopping wood in remote Michigan. Third wave, a surprise return to the classroom near the thumb. Reading Bonnie Jo Campbell's Once Upon a River with the teenage runaway who once shot off a man's pecker, so be careful. I like to live safely in fictional world through Margot Crane's Revenge and Hard Lessons. Also reading David Barday Moore's The Stars Beneath Our Feet. I love Lolly Rawpool's creativity in response to his big city troubles, well like the 2 books that we've been reading. Surprise plot twist, I forgot to tell you, I was on probation. Sorry, my bad. English 112 Composition 2, Making Arguments. No one has the right to maliciously claim a stranger as suicidal. Suicidal swatting is a crime and violators should be punished. No citizen should be subjected to hostile mental health evaluations without a witness or video recording. Bogus criminal mental health care is torture. Civil rights only exist for Americans with money. There is effectively no medical malpractice coverage in Michigan. No establishment of any laws suggesting a preferred religion. No get out of jail free cards for criminal Catholics. No treating Catholic Jesus as official Jesus of the state of Michigan. The nutty people should have no say in my American civic life. I can't get a fair trial. I can't get my story without offending or making people wonder if I'm cuckoo. Crossing the line between civic life and religion and trafficking my body for a week in Catholic Siberia separates me from my sexist, secretly sex-abused Catholic family. It's too painful to be attacked by God and state. I was raised and violated by same false deity. God fucked in the USA. You can't imagine. I hope you never need to try. If you should read some nuclear level curse meltdowns that I have left on the World Wide Web, please consider that while documenting a diarying, there we go, and wearing down over 6+ years, I have used vulgar words, metaphorically, thinking of the First Amendment to highlight vulgar actions, intellectually motherfuckers. There is no corollary fatherfuckers in a sexist world. I hate to be the one to point out this distinction, but Richard Pryor, comedian, deceased, my patron saint, insist. I wish it were different. I don't even know what that I don't know what that means. Students, I hope I haven't confused you about tone and civility of the public arena. Thank you for helping me forget about my troubles, apart from any sleep I've gotten, and time at Lake Huron with my dog. You have been the best diversion. Students have helped me survive without cracking up, though I saw the stress and fatigue, I'm sure. Please know to avoid incarceration again for a crime I did not commit. I am not going to jump off the Zilwaukee Bridge for at least 2 reasons. 1, I am not actually suicidal. 2, I would not want to do such a thing to students, not as a group or as an individual. What a drag that would be. That said, be sure to watch the film Harold and Maude and sing along with the Cat Stevens soundtrack. No suicide, that was William McQueen's idea, but I deal with so much pain and loss, mostly all alone at this point. I spent 35 days in jail about a year ago on a setup charge. I know. It's still not over yet. Still not over. The story strains credibility. How could the world be this corrupt? Again, sorry for this humongous dose of reality, but the world is this corrupt. Maybe that's just the most important message here. I'm facing a return to jail like soon in 2 days based on thoroughly foggy ground while my attackers remain free and unscathed. In doctor's coats, the Vatican, and wearing blue with badges, stinking badges, which is a famous line from the Treasure of Sierra Madre with Humphrey Bogart. I mean, the universe must have a sense of humor because this story is ridiculous, but the story is crazy, not me. Seriously, I've had plenty of time to think and suffer. I would choose to never be born instead. I'm trapped with a story I can't tell and can't escape. Justice is the only cure, but it's been elusive. I don't need to be locked up again because I was locked up illegally, twice now. I simply tried to put my students first among teacher-first prima donnas, and look what's happened. To silence me, I've been shackled and drugged. I spent time in solitary confinement my first night in jail, which is just as bad. No much worse than you think. Don't go there. I've searched. There are no others. I've searched. There are no others. I seem to be the only female feminist academic crone silenced by medieval torture, and in modern times in plain view. I have no tribe. I can't live peacefully or support myself without clearing my name from illegal loony bin lockup and retaliatory criminal charges. Trust me. I have never met the man, Dr. Andrew Muzichka, whatever, who locked me up in the loony bin at St. Mary Mercy Catholic Hospital in Livonia. I never met the lying compliant who locked me up in jail for attempting to stalk him. He was a stranger to me until I go to court. Oakland Community College's William McQueen, retired just a year ago, is the connecting factor. He is going to be allowed to get away with my murder? I certainly hope not. Well, cheers. Hope for you all is that you do great things with your lives. Sorry for screwing up your semester. I hope you never need to read this letter. Sincerely, Gina Fournier. Now, the balls on this woman are incredible because she even tried to go further down the chain of command where she literally sent the Michigan House of Representatives a dumbass letter saying that she was jailed falsely and unfairly and that she doesn't suffer from psychopathy. So let's take a read of that. Dear Representative Elder, we met at Delta College recently during a candidate open house. At that time, I introduced myself as a new constituent. In response to your invitation, I said I would like to speak with your office privately about an ongoing critical situation. Proposed legislation, no citizen should be subject to hostile mental health evaluation without a witness or video recording. Attached is a letter written for my students at Delta College. If I am incarcerated on November 2nd, 2018 in Osceola County, please share this letter with school administration to explain my absence. If I should be pulled from the classroom, I would hope the letter be shared with students. Because my life has been devastated by suicide swatting, police abduction, illegal mental ward detainment, lack of equal protection, and false prosecution, I will also need assistance with my animals at home. I am alone without personal connection or social support. My story and the need to fight for justice has separated me from all aspects of my pre-attacked existence. Thank you for your assistance. Sincerely, Gina. And since all of this, Gina has been pretty quiet and she's deleted most of her videos on YouTube. Her Twitter is dead, although if you want to sift through all the information that I've gathered, she still has some autobiographies and stories written up from herself. though I don't know how much of it to actually believe because of how loony she is. But if you want more info, you can go to GinaFournierAuthor.com. Her Facebook hasn't been updated since 2018. It seems that everything's just been dead for a while. It seems like that she's been uploading up until 2023, but even that Facebook's been dead. So, like, even that Facebook got deleted. So, here's a video from 2022. Editor, could you play that?
Is moving without me. My keyboard is moving. I am not typing. I am not lots of dirt. And my keyboard, there's nothing on the keyboard. And Jesus raped me dead in America. I was not evaluated by the motherfucker white man, Dominic Criminal, Andrew Mizaichka, and Trinity Health St. Mary Merciless, February 22nd, 2013. The goddamn dominant white man lawyer, William McQueen of Oakland Community College. God, the Catholic fucking hell. Suicide swatted me through Terry McCauley, chief of police of my now former employer, Oakland Community College. God's raping fucking hell, please kill me. God's raping fucking hell, please kill me. For 10 goddamn years, I've been telling my fucker country, and I have been proving to my fucker state and country, but my fucker state and country does not recognize criminal psychiatry because of the mess of psychiatry and the goddamn usual suspects of motherfucking Jesus, greed, and fucking sexism. I am not touching the fuck of your Jesus computer. I need goddamn relief. I have had hacks up the fucking cunt, especially in the last few weeks since my pictures, I posted some pictures. My pictures at the beach were hacked with an image. God's fucking hell, America. I need some fucker Jesus relief. Oakland Community College, sexist fucking God. Gaslight, 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 gaslight. Motherfucker, you're Jesus. The Catholics in Livonia and St. Mary Merciless, Trinity Health, motherfucked me raw on a goddamn unnecessary. Jesus needs a fucking in his ass welfare check.
Finally, it seems that in 2023, she's still harassing cops and has apparently gotten a phone job.
I'm working on my phone job right now. You are putting me in danger of my job. You are putting me in danger on my job. Okay. Why are you here right now? Gina. I am supposed to be on my phone job. What is your name and your badge number?
Okay, it's Deputy Kalinowski, 5434.
Thank you.
I'm just here to make sure that you're okay.
I am not okay. I'm the victim of unprosecuted criminal psychiatry, the Oakland Community College sexist, gaslight, bogus mental health care witch hunt. I was locked up illegally without evaluation and human trafficked 10 years ago. Ever since then, Attorney General Bill Schuette and Dana Nessel have denied equal protection. I have been suicide swatted. This is suicide swatting. I have asked for mental torture to end. I have asked for criminal protection against criminal human trafficking. I have asked for torture to end. I am okay. This is harassment, and you're getting me in trouble at work. I'm on the clock at work right now. I need you to leave right now.
Okay. Sure thing, Gina. Take care.
And it's gonna get me in trouble with my landlady. You're causing problems for me. I am not okay when you, oh, you're laughing? It's not funny for you to laugh at me. It is not okay for you to laugh at me. I am not armed. Do not shoot me. But it's not okay for you to laugh at my pain. That is harassment. You were laughing. I saw you laughing. I am not okay when police harass me. Please go. You're gonna get me in trouble. I am not okay. It's not okay, lady, you stupid cunt.
It seems that she is, in fact, still employable. So there's that, which that's super surprising. Below in the description you'll find a link. Below in the description you'll find a link to a Google Doc. I highly recommend that if you want to learn or dig a little bit deeper into all of this, just click that link. There's a lot of good stuff there. But yeah, with that, that was the story of Gina Fournier. Fournier? I still don't know if I'm saying her name correctly. That's my bad. Anyways, I appreciate you for watching, and as I always say, I like to make these documentaries for educational purposes, but not only that, but to shed some light on some of these vile individuals that walk the streets of YouTube. You probably never even heard of Gina, and her story is pretty much said and done, just like with Nick Bate. But I like to show these stories off, or even just like the people that still make videos, say like Carissa or fucking Pamper Chew. You know, we got neglectful mothers, we got kitty diddlers, child groomers, and all that. And I like to bring up all of them. I want to bring up all of them, but I also want to bring up the ones that you've never even heard of. And that's my main purpose here. Anyways, I appreciate you for watching. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe. Make sure you give me the validation I deserve, I guess. I don't fucking know. And guess what? I'll see you in the next episode of whatever I'm doing to put your ban on my internet. Have a great day.